Hey,
How we doing?
Mr. McGuire.
Great to see you, man.
Hey, and you. It's been a hot minute.
Oh, my dog is excited to see
Uh,
you too. Hey, come here, buddy. Come here.
hey, what a nice hit that is, huh?
Yeah, really nice. Come here, buddy. Come
That boy,
here.
that boy's rocking. How's the new gig?
Oh, it's been awesome, man. I've really been enjoying it. Yeah, I mean preseason's been going well. We started like 2 weeks later than a lot of other teams, and honestly, the longer off season was like really nice. So,
Bunch of
um,
golf.
oh yeah, a lot of golf. Still doing a lot of golf. Did some tonight, but
Yeah,
but yeah,
hey,
dude, no, just really enjoying myself and being back with a family because obviously I've been away from my wife for 2 years and my dog, of course. So yeah,
yeah. No, I'm
nice to
so
be back with them.
yeah. I was happy for you when you signed, and now that it's all like came to fruition, it's so hyped to see it. And opening weekend this weekend, I'm so excited, man. I can't wait to watch you play.
Yeah, dude, it's gonna be a lot of fun. Yeah, I think this is probably like the happiest I've been in my adult life. Like it's just been such a great um opportunity to come back here and like I said, be with my wife. So like off the field, things are great, and then on the field, it's just like I couldn't have asked for a better situation. Um, yeah, it's just like all going exactly as I had hoped it would, and maybe even a little bit better. So
Yeah, hey, you deserve it. You put in the work, man, and to grind out those 2 years and then to, come out on top, kind of, right? Like
yeah,
it's a nice long-term investment that played out. So
yeah,
yeah, good, man, good. Well, how's it being back with Paco too? I mean, obviously it's Paco, so like you
yeah.
guys, I'm sure you're gelling along great.
Oh yeah, it's been awesome. I mean, um, yeah, he had a really good end to the season last year. The last like probably 3 months of the season, he really showed out a lot. And when our head coach asked me about him, I just really talked him up and just said that he's like obviously really good in the air, good in both boxes, really good in the build up. There was really no negatives to say about him, and obviously has like a ton of experience and has won the championship before, so on 2 occasions. So it was like almost a no brainer for the club to try and pick him up.
Yeah. Oh man, and to have a center back that you're like familiar playing with,
Yeah,
there's nothing better.
yeah, it's so nice, man, so nice.
Yeah, yeah, good. How's the golf swing coming along?
It is coming along pretty nicely. I went out for my first like full course 18 hole round last Saturday because we had off. Um and it was like right after a rainy day, which is like my personal favorite to play in. It's probably not everybody else's when it's like the course is wet and splotchy, but like for me, I have a pretty steep swing, so like getting down and through the ground like without any like being able to get deep
Yeah,
in
no
the grass
resistance.
is like nice. Yeah, it's like it just kind of slides right through like butter. So no, but it was really nice. I got like 7 pars and then a double bogey and a triple bogey. So there's those.
uh
So
I always get the 18 birdies notification and I'm like, yeah,
yeah.
like he's going out there and I'll follow along and I'll kind of track the scores. It's always cool. How are the courses up there? Must be pretty nice, huh?
Oh yeah. I mean the greens are beautiful. They're not like too grainy or anything. Like I'm not like talking bad about Florida, but Florida you could be putting on like it'll be like a side slope and the putt will go up the hill because of the grain. Like it doesn't really make a lot of sense, but you just
Yeah.
have to trust it there. And here there is still some grain, but it's more just like into grain and out of grain, like uh, you know, into grain or down grain, I should say. So you see like the shininess of it, and it'll obviously go faster in that part. But overall, they're pretty simple to read, and the par three course here gets me all the time because like they have such undulating greens that it's so
Oh,
hard to read these greens. Like yeah, and yeah, I mean, there's a bunch of pitch marks in a par three course, of course, because it's a lot of beginners. So
yeah.
that's to be expected, but it's a whole lot of fun, man. I mean, the place I go is like you could play 10 rounds for $100. So
Oh,
like,
nice.
yeah, so I do go to that par three course a lot, and then now I'm trying to get some 18 hole full courses in. So I'll be out there again on Sunday. You'll get the notification.
Yeah. Hey, you don't have to wear a bulletproof vest like the one in Lauderhill.
Yeah, for real.
Uh,
That's awesome.
is that where you're
Yeah.
playing the night golf too?
No, what'd you say?
Is that where you're playing the night golf as well at that course or somewhere else?
Yeah, it's at the same par three course. It's
That's
called Knights Play, and it's
okay.
yeah, really really nice.
I wish we had like a good. I mean, obviously the closest one is up there in West Palm, which I still haven't played yet. But
Yeah, the
the
park, right?
yeah, is that what it's called? Maybe.
I think it's the park at West Palm. Maybe that one just has a lighted 9 holes, but maybe there's a full 18 somewhere around there.
Yeah, I know. I was in Naples and they had a full 18 night golf. But I was like, I mean, it was a little bit too far from where I was, so I didn't get to end up going and playing. They only do it, I don't know, like a few days out of the week or whatever. But that's definitely on the bucket list. Like a nice, I love like a nice early morning round of golf, but a nice, afternoon round of golf too. Like there's I can imagine there's nothing better.
Yeah, so the only thing that I would warn you about is that the depth perception is like so hard. So like you play like during the day, you can see like the shininess of your clubs like going through the ball, but at night it's like you don't know really where it is like relative to the ground. So like you think you need to get lower and then you just end up chunking the crap out of it. And that's just like that's been happening to me the last couple of times I've gone out at night. So it's a lot to get used to. You just have to trust what you feel and that's a big part of it. So
Yeah. Oh, there's nothing worse than just taking a fat divot out of the out of the floor. I've been playing a lot of that. I mean, because obviously it's in season right now, and so the prices have just skyrocketed at all the courses.
yeah.
But I've just been going to that little pitch and putt that I took you to that one time that we walked, and just been
Oh
playing.
yeah.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
been playing that a bunch because and it helps a lot. It really does. Just the little short games and I mean the putting, whatever. They're not the nicest greens, but it's been it's been good keeping it. I can't wait till we get out there again at some
I
point.
know. Seriously, you gotta come out to North Carolina, man.
Hey, I told you the family's getting that land up there. We started or we broke ground on it. So yeah,
That's
hopefully you're in Raleigh.
Yep, Raleigh. So it's probably like 3 hours from there, but I'll make that.
Yeah. We'll meet in the middle somewhere.
Yeah.
I think
It,
I think I told you about when my mom like was looking for the property. She was like, "Oh, look, there's a country club here. There's a golf course here." I was like, "You got it right. You got it right."
I'm actually looking to become a member at one of the clubs around here. It's supposed to be like it's a really nice course and it's like $140 a month, like no initiation fee, and it's free to walk and it's only 140 a month. So I'm like, that sounds ideal.
Yeah.
Like,
I don't. You don't have to drop contract details if you don't want, but you're on a 2 year, right?
I am on 2 year. Yeah.
Yeah, nice. So
So
perfect infrastructure to be able to, you know, kind of build your life, which is great.
I know. Hopefully we could put some roots in here and just be here for a long, long time. Contract says 2 years, but I'm hoping a lot more than that.
Yeah, yeah. That's just the preseason of the contract. Get it,
Exactly.
get it going in the future. Well, I wore the Philly shirt in
Oh,
honor of you because right, correct me if I'm wrong, but that's where your career pretty much started, and that was
yep.
the beginning of the journey. So I mean, obviously I know it. We've been through it numerous times, but tell the listeners about that.
Just about everything so far. I mean, just in general, my career has gone from playing in college. I'm originally from California, and I played college at University of Tulsa for 4 years. Then I was drafted to Houston. Um, Stayed there all preseason, but was released like 3 days before the season. Got picked up on waivers to Philadelphia and stayed and signed my first professional contract in Philadelphia with the Union. I spent 2 years there, and like during those 2 years, I was training with the first team every day, but I would play games with the Bethlehem Steel in the USL Championship. At that time, it was just USL Pro or USL, and yeah, then I decided to make the jump over to Sweden, and I wanted to see how I would stack up against the guys in Europe, and see if I could make a name for myself out there. And things were going pretty well. Played 2 seasons there, and then COVID happened, so figured it was best to come back home, see family, and be able to travel around the U.S. and see it, family in all the different cities here, um, which was like really nice. So I came to North Carolina from Sweden, played a year here in League One just to get some minutes, and then the last 2 years I was in Miami before coming back here to North Carolina. So yeah, it's been quite the journey. I've been all over the place, but
Yeah.
it's been a lot of fun.
Remind me what year you got drafted, or like when you like became pro?
2017.
2017.
Yeah.
Wow. So it's still early in the career, man. You got
Yeah.
plenty of gas left in the tank.
Yeah, dude. This is my 8th year as a pro, and hopefully, ever since I was a kid, I said I wanted to play till I'm 40. So we'll see if I can get that to come to fruition. That'd be amazing.
Hey, Buffon's got nothing on you. As long as you
I
keep
know.
getting on that golf course, you'll stay
Yeah.
nice and for the soccer.
Hey, at least I outlasted him, huh? Because
Yeah.
he was he's been a pro since I knew there was a such thing as pro soccer. So
Great. Yeah. The longevity is insane. But hey, yeah, I mean, listen, thankfully our position isn't as detrimental to the body. I mean, it depends how you look at it, right? But at least from the game
yeah,
standpoint, it's not as detrimental to the body. And so you do tend to see keepers kind of go a lot longer than it's like kind of like the quarterback. I mean, some quarterbacks
yeah.
tend to have, you look at Brady, Rogers, a lot of these players, they have a long year or a long career. So why not, man?
I know. Why not me?
Yeah, exactly. So, how did it feel when Houston dropped you right before the season started? Where did you kind of go into a panic mode of, oh my gosh, am I not going to have a team this year, or did you feel pretty confident you get picked up by someone else?
So at the time, I had a really good agent, and I was pretty naive too. So they released me. I was just only thing I was nervous about was the meeting, and then I was like, oh well, my agent's gonna find me something like he always does. So I kind of just was hanging out with some of the other guys that were signed to RGV already. We just went to some soccer store, and I was just kind of hanging out, not really worried about anything. And got a call from my agent like, "Hey, can you get to the airport? They're gonna put you on a night flight, and like you're training with Philadelphia tomorrow." I said, "Oh, okay, nice." So I just kind of went there. Apparently, it was between me and some other guy that was there, but I was under the impression that I was just gonna sign. That was my mentality. So I just went there, tried to show out as much as I can, just gave my 100%. And after 3 days, they were like, "Yeah, we like you. We're gonna sign you." And like it felt so natural, but it probably was like a big test, like it probably would have made or broke me at that time, because obviously the season was starting that weekend, and I just had 3 days to play with like Philadelphia Union. Otherwise, like nobody was all the rosters were filled at that point, so I would have had to sign USL or try to go to Europe at that point, and I wasn't really mentally prepared for that. So I think I got really lucky in that moment too. Um, but yeah, back to your question, I was how was I did you ask if I was expecting it to be
Yeah,
uh
like when that happened? I mean, obviously, like you said, it's so late into the preseason that most rosters are filled. But obviously, you back yourself, and did you feel pretty confident you'd get picked up, somewhere else?
yeah. Yeah, I felt pretty confident. It was such a strange thing because I was like I I knew that I wasn't going to sign with Houston like from probably the first week, because they had signed 3 keepers already.
Oh wow.
Um, and it's like teams don't have to carry a fourth. And I didn't really want to be a fourth anyways, but like I just at that point, once I saw that the third had signed, I was like, oh well, I just gotta wait for them to release me. Um, so I was pretty stressed, I think, throughout preseason. But then once they finally released me, I felt like relief, like I felt like, okay, now we could actually get something going.
Mm.
But I didn't know how it all worked back then. I didn't know, oh, it's so late, like rosters are filled. I didn't even like that wasn't even a thought. It was like I'll go to Philly, hopefully it works out. If not, I'll go somewhere else. But that was not going to be.
Did
Um,
Houston not have a second team at that time, or anything they wanted to put you on?
they had RGV at the time, and they were like, "Oh, you can go down there and try out for them." And I
Oh,
was like,
yeah.
"I go do a trial when I've been here for 6 weeks already." So like you know if I'm going to sign there or not. So if you're not giving me a contract now, like I'm not going down there.
Yeah. Well, good for you to have the, the self-respect to be like, hey, I deserve more than this, right? Because some
Yeah,
people would have just, gone and taken that.
yeah,
Were
exactly.
you
So
was I don't know if the timing worked out, but was Murph there when you were at Houston?
I think he was there. I think he was there, but I just don't really remember him when he was there.
That's so
Like
funny.
because you're meeting like 100 new people. Like it's all
Yeah.
MLS setup. You got all those people. We go down to RGV for like 4 days. We play 2 games. One against I don't even know. I think we played. I played one with RGV against somebody, and then I played like with Houston against RGV or something like that. Like
Yeah.
so, I didn't really know the players that well. Um, and I probably didn't even know all my teammates' names yet. So,
Yeah, that's what
so like,
that's something that I think people don't understand is when you walk into these clubs, and especially as a goalkeeper, right? You're trying to command the team, you're trying to lead the guys, and it's like you don't even know your center back's name. It's
yeah,
it's
seriously.
it's one,
And then,
it's
and
one
what the worst part about it is like you're doing a small sided game and like, okay, your pass could have been better, and someone comes up to you like, hey goalie, if you could do it
oh,
like this, it's like, dude, please don't call me that. Like
oh,
I've been here for 4 weeks already. Like, come on.
or
Like,
or you get the ball back and they're like keeper, keeper.
yeah,
It's like
like it's so degrading. It's like, man, I know they're signing, I'm not, but like you could learn my name if I was drafted. Like, come on.
yeah. Who are you to belittle me and act like you don't,
Yeah.
and that's, I feel like, I don't know if it's maybe just keepers, but sometimes we kind of get treated very almost just taken for granted. It's like, oh, he's just another one of the keepers, right?
Yeah.
You kind of get grouped into this, paradigm almost of, oh, he's just with the keepers, and then you
Yeah.
naturally kind of become, associated that with, which sucks. But sometimes you gotta take what you can get.
Yeah.
Yeah. Murph, if you're listening to this, we'll get Murph on the podcast and we'll have to talk
Yeah.
about. I can't,
Maybe he'll
can't believe
remember
I
me
can't
at
believe
that
he
time.
retired, man. That's crazy.
I know. So unexpected. I saw him
Yeah.
sign for Memphis. I was really excited for him to trade jerseys with him over in Memphis. But,
Yeah.
obviously a better opportunity came up and he was ready to call it quits. So,
Yeah.
good for him.
Yeah. No, what a career. And I think he played what, like 11 seasons, 10, 11 seasons?
I don't know how many. I think it was 2016 he started
Yeah.
or
Okay.
2015 maybe. I
Yeah.
don't know. One of those, maybe one of those.
Yeah.
So
Been
he
around a
probably had
while
about
though.
10 years. Around about 10 years, I would say. So,
Yeah. Yeah. Crazy. Crazy. All right. So from Houston to Philly, and Andre Blake was at Philly, right? When you were there?
yep.
Yeah. How was that?
I thought it was really interesting because my college coaches like were really always harping on me about like my weight and my how skinny I am. Like I need to like gain 20 pounds or I'm not going to be any good. Like no MLS team will take me if I'm not like 190 pounds at least. And so I didn't really believe in that. And I tried to gain as much as I could, but the more I gained, like the slower it felt like my reactions were and stuff. And it just had like a lot of negative effects on me. And like I think going and playing with Andre Blake was like, okay, here's another skinny guy like me, athletic, but he's obviously much more athletic than me. But like he's making it work at this level. Like he's showing me that it's possible. And then even talking to him too, he said that his college coaches as well, like would like harp on him for gaining weight and stuff like that. Um and yeah, I think he's just like you need to just block that out because I think our body type is like one that's actually really sought after, but coaches don't really want to admit that. So, um, just keep going and doing what you're doing and like good things will come. And I think he was like a really good mentor for me there. Like we didn't speak too much, like a lot of long conversations, but when we did have those conversations, like they were really meaningful for me and they really stuck with me for a long time. So
Yeah, it's great. And I think it's such a shame because that's such an American mindset to be like, oh, you got to get big and got to be
yeah,
him, and it's just that like American football mindset. But you look at the best players in the world, and they're all skinny and lengthy as can be, right? I mean, they
Yeah.
might, they might be strong within their own, I guess body shape, but it's very rare that you find a football. I mean, besides like Adama Traore, right? That's the one
Yeah.
kind of that's like the outlier. But you look at the Mbappes, you look at the, Haalands, the Messis, and obviously, Ronaldo, he's strong, but he's still lengthy and kind of tall. So
Yeah. And then you think of like skinnier goalkeepers, and like I always looked up to Van der Sar. Obviously, that's a
yeah,
classic name for any of your viewers. Hopefully, they know who that is.
yeah. Hopefully,
And
you're not too
yeah.
young.
And then De Gea was a skinny guy. Courtois is a skinny guy, like making it work. Kepa is a skinny guy making it work. Like, Dubravka also very good skinny guy. So I don't know. There's like a lot of goalkeepers even that are at the highest level and competing and not having a problem, not having an issue with that. Like, so personally, I just don't really see what the hype is around having more weight or whatever. Like obviously there are benefits for other body types, but like, why do I need to change my body type to have those things when I have a lot of good qualities as it is?
And
So
I was just gonna say, like, you've already made it to the professional level. So what got you to the professional level? Why are you gonna all of a sudden change, what it is
right.
what you're doing? Like, that makes no sense. And then, even too, a lot of the paradigm shifts. I mean, you're a tall Viking, and unfortunately we're not
Yeah.
all blessed with the same features, but a lot of the, the whole idea of, oh, if you're not 6'5", if you're not 6'6", don't even, like, we won't even consider you. That paradigm thankfully is starting to shift. And you look at, the Bravos, even the Casillas before then, the Keylor Navases, David Raya's now too, right? The game has shifted so much from, the typical stereotype of what you need to look like. And, the game's changed.
Yep, definitely. I mean, now it's like we're field players that can use our hands.
That
So
wear
I mean,
gloves.
if you're really good on the ball, like as a goalkeeper, then you're going to be highly sought after. So like all those players that you mentioned, like even like Pickford, I think is considered a small goalkeeper. But like I think it was like England's national team goalkeeper coach was saying like, yeah, he was a shorter goalkeeper, but he made up for it in his distribution. So like because he was like so outstanding in his distribution, like you could look past the height. So I think as for your viewers, like if you're like someone who's undersized, just building a quality part of your game that like people can overlook, your height is just like if you have some significant skill that you can like really market to wherever you're trying to get to, like that would be extremely valuable.
Yeah, it's great advice. I mean, you look at Ederson, right? That's another one that comes to mind of someone who's not the tallest, but just an
Yeah.
absolute animal, like literally. And
Yeah.
what he does for City, people always are like, oh well, he's only good because he's with City, and it's like, no, he is City. Like, he
Yeah.
runs the City's line. And so and I it's funny because when I got into goalkeeping, I had all the physical attributes because I was pretty like decent size for my age coming through, but I could not kick a ball for the life of me. It literally was like golf when I started. Like,
Yeah.
could not kick a ball whatsoever. But then as I got older and kind of the playing field leveled out physically, I got to the point with my feet where I was now able to then kind of put myself with taller players that maybe weren't as good. And so it's nice at least that paradigm has started to shift of keepers not having to be 6'6", 6'7" to even get a look at. I mean, it's still around, but thankfully it's starting to shift.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, good. So then Philly to Sweden. Where in Sweden?
I was the best way to describe it is I was 2 hours north of Stockholm by train
There you
uh,
go.
here, and then 2 hours west of Stockholm my second year by train.
So just middle of nowhere farmland, huh?
Yeah, pretty much. That at least the first one. Yeah, I mean, it's a town called Yavle. They're known for like the Yavle goat. It's like illegal to burn it down because it's made of straw or something, and every year somebody burns it down, and it's just kind of the running thing. But like I think one time I heard a story of an American who ended up burning it down, hearing that it was like I think he played hockey there, and he said like, "Oh, well, I heard it was like the thing to burn it down, so I went and burned it down." and then like went to jail because of it. And like it was just like this whole crazy thing. And I think he got deported back to America
Oh
after
my.
he was caught doing that. But yeah, I could be wrong. Like, don't quote me on that, but that's the story that I heard from one of my teammates.
You said oak, right? Like oak tree?
Oh, for what?
Like for the tree, like what was the name? Like what you burned down? It's a tree, no?
Oh, goat. So like they make a art like an artwork of
Oh,
like
that's what I thought you said, but I was
yeah,
like, why are they burning goats?
no,
Like,
no, not like a living goat. It was
yeah,
like a
yeah,
goat
okay,
raw. Like you'll have to look it up, like the Yavle goat.
yeah.
Um, that's and Yavle is spelled Gavle. So good luck with that if you were not listen to me spell that. And then yeah, my second year was like I said, 2 hours west of Stockholm by train, and a little bit bigger town, probably twice the size of Yavle. There's a town called Orebro. Um, and yeah, I had a lot of fun there. The stadium was a bit bigger there, probably held about 3 times to 4 times the amount as my first team there. But yeah, I was during my time there, I was a number two, and the guy in front of me had like played in the Tottenham Academy and stuff like that, and was like a legend for the club that we were at. Um, and so I learned a ton from him. I mean, he was one of those guys who was maybe considered undersized. Maybe he's 6 feet, um, with cleats on, but
Yeah,
but
that's me.
yeah, but no, he was like really good with his feet. He was like made some unbelievable saves, and I learned a ton from him, like with the timing of 1v1s, like how to put the pressure on the attacker rather than like you having to make a play. It was like he made it feel like the attacker had to make the play and they had the upper hand. So, but it never felt like whenever he was like facing a 1v1 or any kind of shot, it felt like he always had the upper hand. So, I learned a ton from him with his positioning and like timing of coming out and putting pressure on the players, getting their head down.
Yeah, that's awesome. Do you think you would have stayed in Sweden if it wasn't for COVID?
Yeah, I think I did. Um, yeah, it was kind of a bummer that I couldn't stay. But at the same time, it was like a blessing in disguise because from there I came here to North Carolina, and it was not at all the same situation the first time around, but I just fell in love with the game again. At that time, like I think when I came back from Europe, I was like, man, my Europe dreams are over. Probably not going to ever go back there, unless it's like for some crazy deal. Um, but and I kind of came to terms with that. But then I was like, okay, well now that was my whole goal was to go to Europe. Like, what are my goals now? So I had to kind of take a step back and reevaluate kind of what I wanted out of my career going forward. And I just told myself I wanted to enjoy it, play as long as I can, and just grow the game in America. So, like, I'm doing that the best that I can. I'm coaching kids on the side, mainly just for fun. I think like last time I was here, I kind of had to do that because the money wasn't great. But um, now it's just like more of I do it for fun and maybe preparing for life after soccer. Hopefully, it's a long time from now, but trying to get some of my steps in at least. So
Yeah. No, I mean, I think it's great. And I don't know if this is relevant or not. So you can tell me if it is, but I'll never forget what you said to me. You're like, I always wanted to be famous, like to the point where people had no clue who I was, but famous enough that I could call myself a pro soccer player, something along those lines.
yep, that's how it was. It was like I wanted to play pro soccer. I wanted to make a lot of money, but I don't want people to know me.
Yeah.
That was kind of it. But I think, and also like, yeah, just being able to play at the pro level and, you know, I don't need all this attention. So
Oh,
we'll leave the attention to all the attackers and the, midfielders and stuff. And I'll just kind of go below the radar.
yeah. No, I mean, listen, then you can go play all the golf you want. You don't got to worry
Yeah.
about anyone bothering you. And
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, it must be nice to after like coming back from Europe to kind of have everything, settled in its place. And, I mean, obviously, Miami was kind of up and down with your experience there, but to kind of be back and be able to be in a good returned place, so to speak, and back in the championship too, which I mean,
Yeah.
you were in the championship last year, but of course, but when you were at North Carolina, obviously it was USL 1, and now that they're in the championship, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's an awesome experience so far, and I'm like really happy with how the coaches have adapted as well. Like I think when I was here the first time around, it was their first year with this club, um, and they kind of went through the thick of it through COVID and the year after that, and then they were finally able to build something from there, and make some key signings for the last League One season that they won the championship in. And then like a lot of those guys, their contracts carried over to this year, and they like way exceeded my expectations of like how they would adapt to this level, and like they belong, in this league as much as anybody else does. So like I think we're going to be kind of a dark horse this season. I think there's going to be a lot of teams that don't know the names that are being put up on the screen when they're getting the lineups, but they're going to learn fast. I'll tell you that much.
Hell yeah, it made me ready to run through a brick wall, man.
Right.
Yeah, well, that's good. I'm glad that it's everything's kind of transitioned well, and obviously you weren't there last year, but what changes have you noticed from the organizational side of things, the club side of things, from when it was USL 1 to now being in the championship?
I just say like from the front office to the team that they've built with the media team. We have a big media team. We have like our ticket sales and stuff like that. We have the guys that are trying to put their like main job is to put people in the stands, right? So like we have like a whole team for that. We have a whole team for just so many different areas. We have like an HR where I don't know if I've had HR in any of my teams since like Philadelphia Union. But like just to be able to have the resources that we do now, obviously a lot more money is being put into it. We have the same facilities. But like with the increase in budget, it's just like you get such good quality players around you too. Not that there weren't good players here before, but just to be able to build an entire team rather than have like 3 to 5 key players. It feels like there's a starting 11, but like there's very much like everybody top to bottom on the roster can play and hold their own at this level. So it's like really good competition within the group. And I think when I was here last, it was like, okay, you know who the starting 11 is, because there's obviously the 5 older guys. There's like, a couple of key signings, and then like some of the young guys, but you kind of knew who was going to be playing. So it was like no surprise who was on the field. And now I think it's going to be like a lot more competition and a lot more fluidity, to where we'll have a lot of options going forward, like to use different players tactically and whatnot.
And North Carolina is going to win the whole thing. It
Let's
sounds
see it. Yeah. I mean, you said it first, so
yeah. Hey, I'll put my early betting in for the season. Get the futures going. Yeah,
I
no.
think somebody actually did that.
Oh
Somebody
yeah,
did
like
that. I don't know who it was, but it was like some huge bet, like made this huge swing in like our odds to win it because like he put so much money on it. So I don't know who that was, but thank you for doing that.
we're gonna try and live up to those expectations. Yeah, I mean it's amazing. And do you know why they got the promotion, or what was it that allowed them to move their way up? Was it just the fact that they won it last year and just the club has kind of been on the up and up? Do you know any
So,
idea?
so I do know why they came back up, but I honestly don't know if I'm allowed to talk about it
That's
on here.
fine.
Of course,
Yeah,
I'll tell you later, but like I just don't know if I'm allowed to share that publicly.
yeah,
Um,
no worries.
but yeah, so
Did they get a nice chunk of money like from the championship?
not necessarily. It was just yeah. I mean, I don't
Yeah.
know
Yeah,
how to
we'll
say
talk.
it. I don't know how to say it at all without giving away like what happened.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Okay.
yeah,
That's fine. We'll talk about it off camera. So no, I
sounds
mean, yeah. Nonetheless, that's exciting stuff, and it's I'm looking like I'm stoked. Like obviously having made connections with you and some of the other US guys from Miami FC, and seeing where everyone's kind of branched off to, and I mean everyone pretty much left, which
I
is
know.
Which, I mean, I think the only two people there are the Big Bens. I think,
Yep.
right? Like the
And Gabba
and
and
Gaba, right?
Curtis are there.
I don't think Curtis is there.
Oh, he's not there. Oh, that's right. I think he was.
Yeah, I think
He had an
he
option to leave, so
and I
but I
think
don't know where he ended up.
yeah. So I think it's literally just Gaba and the two Bens, which is
Yeah,
crazy.
that is
So
crazy. That is
yeah,
crazy. It's been like a whole rebuild. So, I mean, yeah, good for
when you
them. You know?
when you come to Miami, I'll if I'm in town, I'll be there.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Do
Then we'll
you
have to
guys
grab
play
a
them?
beat. Sure.
Do you guys play
Yeah, we
them?
go. I think we go to Miami in either May or early June. So
Okay. All
something like
right.
that. I think it's May. It has to be May because like Miami's always on the road in the summer. So
As you know, yeah.
yeah.
Oh, look at little doggo. Yeah.
No, he's making an appearance. Who is that, buddy? Who's on the screen?
Oh, he looked. Oh, wow.
He's really good with this. He had to do FaceTime for the last 2 years, so he's pretty good with it.
Oh, yeah, that's true. We'll ask him some questions. Get him on the pod.
Yeah, are you a good boy? Oh yeah,
Starts
that's all.
talking like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
How old is he?
He, how old are you, buddy? I think he's 6, turning 7.
Oh, okay. So he's been around a while.
I think we got him my rookie year. Maybe he's 7, turning 8. I don't know. I think he's 6, turning 7. That's
Okay.
what I'm.
And what's his name?
Scooter.
Scooter?
Yep.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
No, it's
He's
good,
good
man.
guy.
It's good to see you happy and in a good spot, kind of everything, moving on the up and up. I don't want to jinx it. I don't want to put any bad
Yeah.
juju out there, but it's good to see that things are moving in a good direction. You definitely deserved it. Like I said, you grinded
Thank
out
you.
those last 2 years, so it's good to see things
Yeah. It was
in a good.
interesting. I didn't know what was going to come over the last couple of years. Like, I think now that it's said and done, my experience in Miami wasn't as bad as it felt as I was going through it. Through
Yeah.
it, I think I got over half the games, and I found out um, later on that that they signed me there initially to be a backup. They didn't expect me to play any games, and like for me to get almost half the games each season was, I think, a big accomplishment for me. Like it actually, at first, it made me angry to know that like, okay, well, they told me that I was going there to play about half the games, and then turns out like they just wanted to have a backup. Um, but you know what? Like I think I don't know if I would have gone there if I knew I was going to be a backup. So, and I also like worked my butt off the entire time I was there, like to get on the field and like really felt like I earned those games that I got, and maybe I should have had a little bit more games, but I think I can't get too greedy with that. Like I think I did good with what I had, and um, you know, maybe I wouldn't have had that crazy game against Birmingham that led to me coming here. So
Yeah, man. And we'll drop the highlights in the
yeah,
video. Go take a
yeah,
look. No, I'm so glad like you at least give yourself those flowers, because I was just gonna say like it. I mean, as a goalkeeper myself, I know, but to be able to like grind day in and day out and constantly be ready, so when you do get that chance, you're able to take advantage of it, because there are so many keepers and players in general where if they're not playing, they completely just switch off and show up to training, go through the motions, and aren't really working to get better. But like you said, you got prepared. You had your opportunity against Birmingham, had a unbelievable game. Shout out Tim Howard. Tim Howard has nothing on Jake McGuire. And, what'd you have, 12 that game?
I had 12 saves that game. I think the expected goals against was around 6, and I got a clean sheet. So
I think I told you, but watching that game, I was on the edge of my couch, literally doing like jump squats every time you say, just unbelievable, because it's one of those things, right? And you can talk about this as well. I'm curious, your take. Obviously, being with you at Miami FC, I wasn't competing for a position, so it was a little bit of a different dynamic. But of course, anytime you're competing with other goalkeepers, right, there is that element of competitiveness. But I think when you get goalkeepers that gel really well, you want them to do so good because you know what it's like, right? And you've been in their shoes and you've seen the commitment day in and day out in the grind. And so then when you see that pay off, you're just like yes, like you
yeah,
get so
good for
so
you.
yeah. Well, and also this is something I struggled with a little bit in college, but if you're not playing, you don't really feel like you're contributing anything to the team. But, having a number two that's good, a number three that's good, even a number four that's good, it makes the entire session different, and
Yeah.
if you have bad, backups or third or fourth strings, it can completely ruin a group. And so I think we were really lucky with the group that, we had for a lot of the time there. And I think we, pushed each other to be better and really made the most of it. But it was just one of those, like, I wanted you to do well. Granted, I wasn't competing
Yeah.
for a spot, but when you have those guys that are like, in your corner, even in the same position, it's always a good feeling.
Yeah. That was like the hardest thing, I think, being a goalkeeper at the pro level. I mean, I've been at time, like whenever I've been a backup, it's like, besides my last 2 years in Miami, I really, really worked on this. But like if I'm like on the bench for an MLS game, I'm like, man, I you don't hope the guy goes down, but like you hope that like something happens during training or something where like you show out and like he's not doing well to where you get a chance on the field. And then like, if he gets that chance and you don't, then you're like, I hope that he messes up almost, so I get a chance next time. But like that's such a bad mindset to be in, because then when you get your chance, all you can think about is like he probably thinks that I'm gonna mess up. And then like now that's in your head. So I think when I went to Miami, and like had Connor Sparrow in front of me and Adrian's and Dejas, like it was more like, all right, I'm gonna like be a good teammate and I'm gonna like warm them up properly and like give them as much confidence as I can going into this game, because I want us to win this game. And then come Monday, I'm just gonna be doing as much hard work as I can to get on the field next week. And if I'm not on the field next week, then I'll do it all over again, give them confidence. Hopefully we win the game. But if we don't, then again, I'm like working as hard as I can to get on the field the next week. So I think that's the challenge for anybody listening is that like when you're not the guy that's playing, you're not the girl that's playing, you know, you need to be a good teammate, number one. And two, you need to like prove yourself in training. You need to like, give yourself the best opportunity on the weekend. All that starts during the week. So, and if you're putting in all this hard work week in and week out, coaches are going to notice. And you'll either get your shot or you'll get your shot somewhere else. So,
I was just gonna ask you, do you feel like, because you always hear the saying, control what you can control. And I feel that there's a situation where a lot of goalkeepers will get in where they feel like it doesn't matter how good they perform. The number one is cemented in the coach's eyes, and there's really nothing that you can do to, change their minds. And so did you ever feel that at all with Miami, or did you feel that, you kind of at some point knew maybe your chance was coming?
no, I never felt that way with Miami. I felt like I did feel like my time was coming. I felt like it was only a matter of time. Like changes were being made right and left, like on the field. Guys who were what I thought were key players were getting taken out of the game, and for the following games. And like again, I was told when I was going there that I was going to have a shot every week, anyways, if I was training well. So in my mind, I already thought that I was going to be able to be on the field the next week. So that didn't really feel. I didn't really get that sense of like this guy's always going to be playing. But I'd say if you are in that situation, again, it's like if you're just working your butt off every single day, week in, week out, like when you try to move on to another team, whether it's like a college team to college team, high school to college, or just club to club, like if you need a recommendation, there's no way that your coaches like look at you and or like are talking about you and can say anything negative if you every single day are giving your 100% all. So yeah, I think maybe I got pretty lucky with my North Carolina coaches here, because when I was trying to leave here the first time, like they were just like they were an agent to me in some way, because they valued my hard work here. And like as soon as Miami came calling, they were just like, yeah, you're gonna love this guy. Like he works hard like 100% of the time. He never takes days off, like stuff like this. So like having guys like that in your corner, having coaches like that in your corner, it goes a long way to have a recommendation.
Yeah, and anyone that knows you just knows the energy you bring, like the hard work. You build almost a brand, right? And
Yeah,
I was gonna say it's working hard. As much as you may feel like you don't have a chance, you're giving yourself that respect of saying, "Hey, I know what I'm capable of, and I'm gonna work hard for myself, right, to be able to develop and really get something out of it." Because even if you're not gonna play, there's still something to be gained from it, right? And whether it's like helping me, right? Because you could have been in there and you could have been just moping around, oh, this shit sucks, I don't want to
yeah,
be here. And people don't understand, it of course sounds a lot easier than it is, but this is a 10-month season with preseason included in the middle of Miami summer, right?
yeah,
You are grinding. Travel hours suck. I don't think people understand how difficult it is to travel in the American soccer system, how brutal, the travel really is, to
yeah,
go in, to do that week in and week out for 9, 10 months. It's got to give credit where credit's due, because it,
yeah,
it takes a lot of work, man. And you know what, it paid off, and you got your return on your investment.
yeah. Exactly, exactly.
So what was the worst travel story of last season, would you say? Or just like your experience in the American system in general?
Um,
Because I know
yeah,
Miami was pretty brutal.
yeah. I mean, I just like it wasn't even that. I can't even say it was that bad of like a travel. Like I don't. I like you said, I have a really positive outlook on things, and like when things are going wrong, I just block it out, and I'm just doing something on my phone, and I just try and like ignore the bad things that are happening. If like the bus doesn't come for 2 hours, or and you're just sitting at the airport, or you know whatever it is. But like I just say, we had a chance to make the playoffs last game of the season, going to Sacramento against that team had won the community shield, whatever you want to call it, like top of the league. um what do you call that? Is that, oh, supporter shield? So they
Yeah.
wins the supporter shield. They had the most points in the league. We're going to them, and we're on like a hot streak. We just won like 4 games in a row, and like we need to just tie
Yeah.
to go through,
And
to
their
go to
stadium, their stadium's a crazy atmosphere. They sell
yeah,
it out. It was the last home game of the season.
yeah,
I
big
think
events.
10,000 plus. Like,
They're
not
yeah, they're
not an
announcing
easy
like
game.
they're announcing all the awards and stuff for their team and all that. We need to go there. We just need to get a tie. That's it. 0-0, we're through. 1-1, we're through. Whatever.
And
Anyway,
this was during the run of games that you
yeah,
guys started winning and the team started doing well after you had
yeah,
not really played throughout the season. And so it was like if you guys would have gone through, yeah, granted, it might have only been one more game, but you never know, what could have
yeah,
happened. And,
exactly.
Detroit ended up beating Pittsburgh
Yeah,
that game, and Detroit ended up moving on. And so, that's always will be a what if. But anyways, to give some, context as to what was happening.
yeah. So, anyways, like that was just to call it the biggest game of the season. Like that's what it was, and our travel was a night flight the night before the game. Like, what are we doing? Like, do we really want to win this game, or like what? Because normally and that's an east to west coast flight, so that's almost 6 hours in the air. And we're getting there the night before the game. No
Time
train,
change too.
time change. You don't get any time to get acclimated to it. You just wake up the next day, and now you got to play basically at 10 p.m. because it's West
See,
Coast time.
people don't understand this. Like, they just think, oh, you're a pro soccer player. Like, you have it so good. Life is so easy. And,
Yeah,
like it's wild, and in most other countries, second division, I mean, maybe some, right? But, you would expect there to be a certain level of infrastructure to give the players the best chance at being successful, especially with a game like that.
oh yeah, exactly. I mean, even if like infrastructure the entire season has been not so great, like if you have that kind of chance that late in the season, like just go ahead and give us a flight the day 2 days before, and let us get acclimated to the environment that we're about to be in. So,
Which
I
you
don't know.
had done earlier in the season.
Yeah, we have been doing that when we go to Orange County. We're there 2 days early. When we go to Vegas, we're there 2 days early. When we're there, who else do we play? Oakland away.
Yeah.
All those games that we did end up going a couple days before, and in all those games we got, well, besides Vegas, but we got results. We got a tie on the road, which could have been that game as well. And that was, oh yeah, never mind. I was going to say that was my only time getting scored on in California as a pro. But I did get scored on against Monterey when we missed our penalty, and then they came down and scored the counterattack. That was tough.
I remember. I know it's.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's but I think I'm glad that we're bringing some awareness to it, because people that aren't in the system, and even myself, like until I got to Miami and kind of seeing the ins and outs of it, like you never would expect that ever.
Yeah, exactly.
And already like such a tumultuous season between like the head coach leaving and the amount of injuries the club had, and just all the ins and outs of the little details that were in the club that we probably shouldn't share, but like.
Yeah.
It's no, but again, credit to you, credit to the boys to be able to still lace the boots up and put on. I mean, you guys lost what, 1-0, right? Like towards the end of the game, like
yeah. I mean, it just came down to like we were on different pages. Like some guys wanted to go and get a goal on the road, and I'm just like, no,
we need a tie, guys. We need a tie.
Every time we get in a low block, smash that thing out for a throw-in. Like we don't need the ball, but we don't need to build out of the back and be really risky against this team that is excellent at counterattacking, excellent at set pieces. Get the ball out of our half. That's really the only thing, and then to just try and press and get it back, but like don't overexpose ourselves. And that was my mindset, was just play it safer, and like why not, and then as soon as we get scored on, now we're all flying forward and doing like, now we're all on the same page. We need a goal. But like, it was like up until then, we were just so disjointed, and it was like hard to see when you're being part of it. Cause you're like, okay, I made a couple saves, keep us in the game. We haven't gotten any chances. And for some reason, we're still trying to build out and like, still trying to like do these risky things to try and get a chance, send extra numbers forward when it's just not necessary. Like just send a normal amount of people forward, have rest defense there, one extra person back to their attackers, and like don't overexpose ourselves, and just try and keep the ball up there as long as we can. And if there is an opportunity for a shot, take it. But for the most part, we weren't getting anything on the day. I think we had like one shot on target from like 35 out. So when that's your day, you have to like you have to play the game that's given to you. You can't like go and play this imaginary game of, oh, we can maybe win this game when we got one shot, in 60 minutes. So, yeah, it was tough.
No, it's important. It's important to be realistic, and especially exhausted too after that long of a game. Like just do what, remove the emotions and do what is the right decision. I think that's sometimes so hard to, let your emotions blind you. You just gotta, put the blinders on and see what is the right step. You gotta
do what the game gives you. Like sometimes the game gives you a ton of opportunities against a good team that it was not giving us those. So just do what the game gives you and play it safe and do what was working.
Yeah.
That's all I have to say. Like if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So
it's true, and as a goalkeeper as well too, you have the unique, kind of perspective of the way the game's going and what needs to be done. And of course you control a lot of the tempo of the game too. And so, yeah, Miami definitely lacked that identity, and there was no real, like when you played Miami, you didn't really know what you were going to get, which granted, some people might say is a strength, but it's also difficult because then, how do you have that kind of team chemistry and that real notion of, okay, this is how, as a club, as a unit, like this is what we stand for. And of course there's numerous factors as to why that might have been, but it really is difficult when you don't have a lot of the people on the same page.
Yeah, exactly.
So our final topic, because I know it's getting late, but I had to bring the bad boys out.
Oh yeah.
So West Coast sponsored, obviously, legend of a glove brand. Obviously, you've been with them now for what, like 4 years, 5 years?
No, my entire career. I've been with them
all
really? 7 years. Going on my eighth year. This is going on my 8th year with them. Yeah. And I hope to be with them, until the very end, because they've just been so good to me, and I've really enjoyed their products, and it's just been it's just been an awesome ride with them. So, West Coast, if you're looking at this, like, I just would love to be with you for the rest of my career.
We'll have to tag them in the comments. Tag
Yeah,
them in the
definitely.
comments. Shout them out. No, I mean, I obviously you spoke very highly of him, and I had heard about him for so long, but never really like tried him out until I, obviously got my first pair from you and class gloves. I mean, and to have like those good relationships with those companies. And so I forget, but did they reach out to you? Did you reach out to them? How did you come across getting that sponsorship?
So as soon as I signed with Philadelphia, my agent came to me and said, like, hey, what do you think about West Coast gloves? Like, they reached out and said they want to sponsor you. And I told my agent, I was like, oh, I was going to ask you to reach out to them for me.
Yeah.
But this is just working out perfect. So
Yeah.
it was just like, I wanted to be with them. They wanted to be with me. And it was like the deal was done in like one night. So it was great.
Yeah. And I mean, hey, to be with them 8 years later, it speaks volumes of them. And at that time too, they weren't, really, I mean, they were still big, but not as big as they are today. And so to be able to be
Yeah.
with them and continue to grow and, kind of be an ambassador for them, it's great. I know they kind of want to have like a monopoly on American goalkeepers because almost like all like big American goalkeepers wear them.
Yeah. I mean, it's a good strategy that they had. I think they were at that time signing a lot of guys that were getting drafted. I don't know if everyone that signed or everyone that got drafted signed with them, but I think it was like a big thing they were trying to push at that time was to get the young goalkeepers on board. And well, they definitely got me on board. I'll say that much. But I do remember that like you said, there weren't all that many West Coast sponsored goalkeepers in the league at that time. But I think now it's like almost everyone seems to be sponsored by them in the MLS. So their brand is really, really growing. They've even got it in some like TV shows. What is it? What's like the famous like soccer show that came out? Ted Lasso. I think it was like.
Oh, yeah,
I think
right.
the gloves in there are West Coast as well. So they're doing a really good job with like getting their brand out there, and like I think a couple Premier League goalkeepers are using their stuff now.
Yeah.
So I mean, really big time for them.
And hey, you're a West Coast keeper, so
Yeah,
yeah,
exactly. A
yeah,
West Coast GK,
yeah,
from the West Coast. So
yeah. I mean, you should just be the brand. Like they should
yeah,
just have you be the guy. Yeah,
seriously.
yeah, good. Well, I mean, I think we pretty much covered everything.
Yeah,
I know it's getting late, and I don't want to keep you up too late, as I know you got a game in 2 days. Saturday,
yeah.
right?
Yep, Saturday 7 p.m.
Against I should know this.
against Charleston
Oh,
at
the
home.
they weren't champs, but the reigning
The
finalists.
reigning almost
The
champs.
reigning almost the reigning losers.
Yeah, that was tough. That was a
Yeah.
tough
Oh, cool.
one.
You get to see Marky, and are they coming to you guys?
Yep, they're coming to us.
Oh, home opener first week. That would
That'll be
be.
great.
I will be betting Jake McGuire clean sheet.
Yeah.
I'm excited for you, man. Glad everything's going so well. And anything else for the peeps? Any, I don't know, famous, hopefully not last words, but famous,
No,
famous.
no, I mean, I just say, yeah, if there's any aspiring pros out there, a lot of people think that it's all about who you know. Oh, you knew an agent, you knew a coach that like moved you on. Um, if you have that mindset, you're probably not going to get very far. But if you get the mindset of it's all about who you meet, then the sky's the limit, because I was one of those guys that I thought you needed to know somebody, and I just thought I'm just gonna, meet a bunch of people and give a good first impression, and then give my all whenever I get a chance, and just play like somebody's watching, just play like somebody important is watching. I think those two things is going to get you really far.
Yeah, Jakey, what a guy. And I mean, the show doesn't have a lot of viewers, to be honest, but if there's people that, have questions for Jake, or, want to pass them on to me, and I'll pass them on to Jake. We'll put all your info, get you some followers, or get the follower count up and going. And,
Yeah.
No, I mean, obviously you were huge for my development and helped like answer so many of my questions, and a great golf buddy, which
Yeah.
that's first things first. We put that
First things first. Yeah.
yeah,
Already.
we put that up top. So all righty. I think yeah, Jake McGuire, thank you, man.
Yeah. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate you having me on your channel, and yeah, thanks for everything.
Yeah, we'll have to maybe do a mid-season check-in or a end of season. I'm trying to get more consistent with it. I would like it to be in person, but of course, you know, logistics wise, I'm not filthy rich yet. So it takes takes a little bit of doing what we can. But no, we'll definitely get you back on at some point.
Definitely. Well, whenever your house is done in Asheville, I'll make a little trip out there and we can do it there.
Oh man, yeah, that would be sooner than later. Fingers crossed for sure.
Sounds good, brother.
Awesome.
All right, man.